Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Power of Attorney with Latanya Moore. Listen, guys, I am super excited to be back on the air. Yesterday we had the pleasure of having none other than Dr. Henry Louis Gates here with us on the show. So, again, it was so awesome. So, if you guys have not had the chance to go and check that out, I am encouraging you all to do that because it is such a wonderful, fabulous show. I think that uh I think what's really amazing is the fact that we've had this opportunity to uh, have such a wonderful guest. And so again, I'm just over the moon that that he was definitely a part of what we're doing. So again, thank you so much for tuning in yesterday. Thank you guys so much for being such supporters of the show and being patient as we are trying to get everything back together. Good morning, guys. Let's try this again. I had a few technical difficulties. Welcome, guys, to Power of Attorney with Latanya Moore. This is Tuesday here in Alabama, where I am. It is a voting day, so I don't have to go through all that's going on, guys, here in Alabama, because I know that if you are anywhere, probably in the world at this moment, you have heard something about Alabama, something about the voting, something about what we're doing here in this place. So I want you guys to know that I know sometimes it seems as if we may be sort of backwards, but I want you to know that we are not. We definitely are not. But again, in this episode of Power of Attorney, I really want to talk about the just the implications, right? What does your brand stand for? Because that's really what we're talking about, right? When I talk a lot to my clients, I always talk to them about things like character and reputation. I always talk to them about that because at the end of the day, for a business, all you really have is your character. All you really have is your reputation. And so it's actually the same when we think about life and when we think about all of that. And so what I want to share with you guys is I want to talk really today about what does your brand really stand for? Because I think the thing that we are seeing with this Alabama election and what it has uncovered is that are we, and again, I'm saying we because that includes everyone, are we at a place where we kind of start to look at things sort of what's in it for me versus the greater good? And that is really the question that I would like for all of my entrepreneurs who watch this show. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, ask yourself, when you're looking at things like how important this election is, not for political purposes, not for whether or not you want Obamacare repealed or not for anything other than what message are we sending, not just within our own nation, but what message are we sending even to the world? And I say that to say this. You have to ask yourself the same thing with your business. When you make business decisions that really are selfish in nature, for example, right? Versus maybe something that's for the greater good, maybe something that will have a better impact for the community, right? When you think about those things, you have to then ask yourself, what does my brand stand for? And actually, that's where the question should start. The question should start with, what is it that I want my brand to be representative of, right? What type of values do I want my brand to represent? Now, here's the thing. You can say those things and you can provide lip service to those things, but are you really doing that? Are you really doing it? Are you really doing the things and basically, does your brand really stand for what you say that it stands for? And again, just drawing a parallel to this Alabama election. The question then becomes, right? The question then becomes, is this a greater good decision? Or is this a what's in it for me decision? Because I'm going to tell you, I'd love to know what this whole Alabama election, this just everything. What is everyone thinking when they see what's happening? Now, I've been kind of combing social media. I've been watching. I've had people reach out to me that have never been to Alabama. They know that I'm here. And so I'm kind of the only one that they know. So they ask me, like, what in the heck are you guys doing? And as a person who works with brands, I had to ask myself, if the Alabama brand, whatever that means, were my client, what would be some things that I would be talking to them about, right? One of the things is your reputation. How are you being viewed in the marketplace? Because as business owners, we have to ask ourselves that, right? Are we living up to the standard that we have set for ourselves? Because if we are not living up to the standard that we have set for ourselves, how can we then require other people to live up to the same standard? And I think that when you really think about that, you have to make sure that you are not running your business in a state of hypocrisy, right? You have to make sure that you are not now saying, hey, I'm the standard, and this is the standard that I've set, and this is what you have to do, but then you're not doing it, right? You're making demands, you're putting systems in place, right? You're telling other people that if you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. But then on the outside, right? I mean, on the inside, you're not conducting yourself accordingly. So when that comes out, then there's a rush to justify. There's a rush to justify negative behaviors, right? There's a rush to justify certain things. So let's think about certain companies. I'm not going to call their names, but think years ago, guys, when you had a lot of companies that had issues with products that were killing people. Plain and simple, right? Initially, it was our products are safe, right? Then you went to, well, this is rare. Okay. And so at every time there was a different layer or level of exposure. So what happened when this exposure happened, then there was now another layer of admission of guilt, so on and so forth. To by the time they got to the point about saying, yeah, from the very beginning, we always knew this, there was such a negative implication against the brand that people just said, I can no longer trust this brand. And so I think that as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as people that are, quote, brand handlers, for lack of a better word, like myself and others, we really have to help our clients and customers explain that this is a true reality, right? And so I wanted to spend just a small amount of time with you guys today to encourage you to answer the question, what does my brand stand for? Who am I in the marketplace? What do I represent as a brand in the marketplace, right? What are those standards? And then once you do that, then you have to say, am I personally, is my brand living up to those standards? And if the answer is yes, kudos to you, right? But it still doesn't mean that you don't have work to do. So again, I wanted to stop by, give you guys just a little tidbit. I voted today. See? I voted. So I wanted to stop by, give you guys just a tidbit here this morning for Power of Attorney. We are back on track. I want you guys to know that we are going to continue to have some fabulous guests. You won't see me every single day, right? I'm going to have people that are going to be on with me, that are going to be talking about business, that are going to be talking about legal topics, that are going to be talking about things like politics, right? And how these things implicate or affect our business lives. Because of course, that's what our show is about, right? Business and legal topics. So again, I want to thank you guys for being a part of the Power of Attorney team. I want you guys to know that I so appreciate all of your support. For those of you that want to know a little bit more about me and what I'm doing and keep up with everything, you can go to www.latanyamore.com. You can go to www.latanyamore.com. You can click